This is Bottom Line Liberia.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we like to say welcome again to another edition of the program, The Bottom Line. And The Bottom Line is a weekly production, and we come your way every Tuesday and Friday. And we do actually discuss issues concerning Liberia, and uh, it could be human interest, it could be political. Of course, we're in a political season, so most of the time we do political discussions, and we also talk to top Liberians that are doing well, probably in business or some endeavor. And so it's all about Liberia. So that's why we call it the bottom line Liberia. And we do discuss the issue from top to bottom. We give our analysis, we give our opinions, and stuff like that. But we like to say welcome to you if you're a first time viewer. We like to say welcome. This is your platform, and I have with me my host of panelists. I think tonight is going to be a full house. Uh, we're going to have a guest panelist that will be with us tonight. I will not introduce that individual yet until they're ready to come on. But like I said, it's going to be a full house tonight. I have with me Jama Kamara. Jama is one of the panelists here, and also Paul Cholope from the UK. And Paul, every time you put Paul, people ask me, is this him? So Paul, you gotta write your full name. So let's see who Paul is this. I try answering one question on that. But Paul Cholope is there in the UK, and of course Jima is actually from the UK as well. And Stephen Carley will be coming on tonight. He's one of the panelists here. And I think as we progress in the program, we'll be having the only female panelist, Madam Antrick Jallo. We hope she's going to be joining us. So I want to say welcome to those of you joining us for the first time, and our regular viewers, welcome. Gentlemen, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
You look sharp and happy. There is something strange about you today. I don't know, Jamal. Am I right?
Yeah, you are very right. Actually, I'm not in the UK at the moment. I'm in Amsterdam on the holiday, but I think it's very important. And
I see your secret. You know, that holiday seems to be very good for you.
Yeah, so I think it's necessary that we come on this show. So we're taking this time to address some pertinent issues that come in Liberia. So it's important that we show up despite being on holiday.
And Paul?
Oh, well, good evening to you guys. It's good to be back on the show, and I'll say good evening to our listening audience as well. I'm in the UK. I'm in London. It's been a very beautiful day today. We had a fantastic weather, and I'm kind of happy it's the weekend. So I'm happy to be on the show to share my thoughts and whatever topic we're going to discuss tonight.
And I don't know if Steve can hear me. We're going to be introducing the topic pretty soon, but I don't know if Steve can hear me. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Steve has been away for a couple of days or months. No, sorry, not months, but weeks. And it's all because of certain engagements. Steve, but he's been working politically behind the scene, though. And so we like to say welcome to all of you guys. And tonight we'll be looking at a few topics, and we will not limit ourselves to what we have, decided to talk on. You guys can bring out anything that you think is of interest, politically or whatever, and then we can discuss it. But first of all, we'll be looking at this bill, much talked about bill that it's being currently worked on, that all mothers in Liberia should quote unquote have compulsory breastfeeding programs. And we'll be looking at some of the merits and demerits. And tonight will not be the last time we'll be discussing this topic, because I believe it's going to be an ongoing discussion, because it's a lot of things surrounding that. So, and next week, that's on Tuesday, the next edition, we'll try to have a health practitioner on this show that will throw some lights on it. Why should mothers compulsory breastfeed our children, or why shouldn't they? Okay, and then we'll also look at a story that was in the newspaper recently where Musa Bility of the Liberty Party has vowed to resist the Unity Party from fielding any candidate in the upcoming Lofa County by-elections. And stay on the Unity Party, the Yonblee Karnga faction of the Unity Party, as you all know, the Unity Party has been divided, and the Yonblee Karnga faction has just announced that they are pulling out of the CPC officially. How relevant is their pullout, or how relevant they were? We'll also be looking at that. And when time permits, we'll talk or we'll take a review of the various newspapers in Liberia. Chima, your chair is very noisy, so we hope you sit stable. And so these are topics that we'll be looking at tonight. And for you, our viewers or gentlemen, you on the panel also, you can share the video to your various contacts, and let's see if we can pull the crowd, because this is a very important topic. So for you, our viewers, we ask that you please do us a favor, share the video, invite your friends to join us. And so I think, gentlemen, we set. Let me start from the bottom to the top. I mean, chronologically, because Steve Carey was the last to come in. Steve, welcome. What have you been up to in recent days?
Well, thank you. As you may be aware, Mr. Cummings and his entourage, including partisans from the United States of America, from Liberia, from other parts of Europe, and that will include everyone on this chat line. We are preparing for this visitation, this big visitation in Germany, this big fundraiser. And so basically we, as leaders of the German chapter of ANC Global, has been very, very much bent on making sure that we dot the T's and cross the I's of the planning process. And so, yeah, trust me, we've been very, very much engaged. We are still engaged, all hands on deck, getting ready for this visitation. So basically, this has been, so far, one of the activities been keeping us more like engaged. But we're happy to be back on the borderline, and we hope to have a very fruitful conversation.
Okay. You see, like I said, you can bring out anything on your mind, and we can keep the show going. You see, we just got interesting information there from Steve concerning the visitation of the planned visitation of Mr. Cummings. I think Steve, it's going to be in July this year, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be basically from July. It's gonna be basically from July 8th to July 10th. And the program, the event is expected to be hosted July 9th.
Okay. I don't know, since you guys are still in the planning stage or planning stages of the entire program, I don't know whether it would be wise for me to just ask what do you guys think will be some of the highlights of this visitation?
So some of the major highlights we expect is, of course, a bigger fundraising event. Of course, we intend to have a Palava Hot conversation, and that is via a platform where Mr. Cummings in touch with the Liberian people in Europe to articulate his plan for the dawn of a new day in Liberia that he envisions. So basically, we will have the opportunity. I mean, folks will have the opportunity to ask questions. It will be an interactive conversation. Yeah. So, one of the highlights, we hope to have a game. We hope to play some football. And that will have, people like Jamel, people like Paul Tropley all in the midfield. And, and the ANC team will be combating the Liberian, all-star soccer team here. So we expect, a couple of other activities. But for major highlights, these are the events.
And Paul, you are the chairperson of the European or the global ANC European chapter. And I guess having this or hosting this program in Germany draws you or the entire European chapter of the ANC into the whole picture. How involved are you going to be? I mean, when I mean you, I'm talking about your chapter.
Well, I would say start with thanks, Steve, for the intro. To start with, if ANC is hosting something, a German chapter is hosting something in Europe, and that means I'm involved, 110% involved. And regards to the event, yes, I will work with the guys, working with them, and on the line of the soccer, well, I mean, Steve, you didn't include Mr. Cummins. It's a good number 9. So I don't know how come you didn't put him on our team. So just
I think Mr. Cummins is a secret striker, so he doesn't want to.
The place is still open. Regional coordinator Paul Chirople. And just to note this important point, on a bigger picture, on a bigger scale, this event is being hosted by ANC Global Europe, but Germany is used as the venue. So that is to say, in context, Paul Chirople, including us, we're holding this event. So Paul Chirople is hosting this event. He's the regional coordinator hosting this event.
So that means I have to show my other skills on the pitch, because that's something. And then when the time comes, yeah, we encourage people to come to Germany. It will be a big thing. There are a lot of people coming from all over, to having guests from Asia as well, Australia, as far as Liberia. People will be coming. So it will be a great event in July, and we're all looking forward to going to handover in Germany. It will be great. And I hope to see you guys there too, man. We'll make this a really European thing that people will see. Yes, we are.
I'm a very good goalkeeper, so I hope you guys don't put goalkeeper.
No, you cannot take my place. You cannot take my place on the pitch, brother. You cannot take my place on the pitch. But anyway, we need 2 goalkeepers. We need 2 goalkeepers.
Let's get down to real business quickly. Paul, we heard in the news recently, just trending, that the legislature in Liberia, they are working on a bill, and this bill, I haven't read the whole thing, but I learned that this bill is to mandate all childbearing women in Liberia, according to them, except those with some medical conditions, to breastfeed mandatory breastfeeding program for all mothers. Is this feasible? I mean, the question is open to everybody. Is this feasible? You can take your turn, guys.
Well, the thing is, I have not read anything on this, so I've read it.
Let's forget about reading. But the basic idea here is that they want all mothers who can have children to breastfeed their children. Okay, they want to make it compulsory. So whether the woman can produce milk or not, she should breastfeed the child.
Well, go on, Steve.
Yeah, for me, I think our legislature has been turned and reduced into a playground. I really do think the issue of breastfeeding is not in the list of the first 100 issues we must tackle to elevate our country. I really do think that this issue is insignificant as opposed to the issues that matters. Now, how about making laws that will make lawmakers accountable to their electorates? How about the legislature making sure that there is an electronic voting process done in the chambers, in the section of the legislature? How about the legislature making sure that there is an economic crime code established to make folks, or a special code on corruption that will provide a platform for folks, corrupt folks, to account? How about these relevant issues? And I hear the lawmakers discussing the advantages and disadvantages of breastfeeding. For me, this issue does not deserve our precious time. Yeah, this will constitute my first opinion. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I don't know where to start from, because I think Liberia have a major problem on hand. So many problems over there, and I don't see that as something significant, because we all, I mean, there's people already breastfeeding Liberia, to be honest. This country have a huge poverty rate, and people can't afford to buy baby milk. So it's our thing. I agree with Steve here. It's waste of time. There are a lot of things on unresolved issue in Liberia. We're talking about the health facility in Liberia is not good. Educational system is failed. All institutions is kind of collapsed. What is the focus on breastfeeding? What's the motive behind it? In a society where you find out that poverty rate is high, people breastfeed. So I think it's just waste of time. It's my opinion here. It's complete waste of time. I don't know what Jamal have to say on this, so I wouldn't dwell with it and waste my time on it.
Jamal, you're muted. So if you're coming in.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I think it's very important that we take some things into consideration here with regard to they call it the ECD, they call it the early childhood development in our country. I mean, if you look at the recent statistics in Liberia with UNICEF statistics, it said, if I can quote, so only 5 out of 10 babies under 6 months are exclusively breastfed in Liberia. Right. We are looking at it from the point of, I mean, we have other issues like any other African country. There are issues where we can look into, but you also look at the generations. These are kids. But then if you're coming with these monetary laws, you should have something other. It should be a package, a special package where you can help the mothers. I'm in support of total breastfeeding, but then it comes in what terms? The government should put a support in place for the mothers. There are a lot of things in our country. Liberia had an expanded program on immunization, where if you want Liberia to develop, if you're talking about other issues, we can go along. It can go along with other issues. We can develop them together. But then what I'm thinking about, the legislature should put a package in place that will help those mothers to help them to, you know what I mean? That's my point. I'm looking at it from a different angle. So there are a lot of things. The mothers should be helped to breastfeed your kids. According to the point, what they are saying here, the legislation point is saying breastfeeding is a duty, it's not an option for able mothers, right? But then the problem here is, if you talk to a nurse or somebody who is a medical practitioner, will tell you a mother need to having a very good nutritional status before it's breastfeed. So what are the conditions of the mother? So the government should have it. If they really want to put those things in place, they should really put a special program together to help these mothers, the able mothers that need to breastfeed. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, you're right, Jamal. Myself, I think I hold similar views, because the thing about breastfeeding for me is not new in Liberia, because if you go to the interior side, considering the number of people who live in the city limit and compare it to the number of people who live in the hinterland, a lot of these mothers have never been at the hospitals. I will point blank say this, somebody can prove me wrong. I think 80% of Liberians are born out of the hospital, if I'm not mistaken, about 80%, because a larger majority of the population lives in the interior side. So those people who live there, they born children, okay, and they do not have that supplement, that breast supplement to give their children from birth. So it's all about breastfeeding. Okay, I've seen mothers in Liberia who probably did not produce milk, and they had to come with maybe some relative who have milk, breast milk or breastfeeding or baby already to supplement. So it's nothing new, but like Tima said, if such a program is to be mandatory, there must be some help, some assistance given to these mothers. Because take for example in Monrovia, where people are exposed to hospitals, and you can walk in a store and buy your formula, your milk formula easily for your child. So this your mother is broke. She does not have money. She's a single mother. The boyfriend of the husband is nowhere to be found. She's not working. Okay. So automatically she will resort to what? Breastfeeding her baby, because she cannot buy that formula. So you don't even need to make it mandatory. So when Steve talks about it being a waste of time, I think it's a complete waste of time, because this is something that has been going on for years. Or do they only want to have it on a paper for record's sake that, okay, the legislatures passed a bill that Liberian mothers should mandatorily breastfeed their children? Well, we're going to have Yasini on she'll be coming on pretty soon, and she's going to, since she's a woman and she's a mother, she's going to throw some light on it, okay? And just before we go to, so we're going to table this part, because I'm sure yes, Yasmin is going to throw light on it. So Paul will be taking a leave of us because he's engaged with something. But let's just go to the second point here quickly. We'll be back again, but let's go to the second point, where the two things we'll look at fast before Paul goes. The normally Karnga faction of the Liberty Party has left, the CPP. Then Bility on the other side, who is the legal chairman or chairperson of the Liberty Party, according to the law, is saying that he's going to resist the Unity Party in the upcoming by-elections in Lofa County. Now, let's look at some legal. We are not legal man, but the legal ramification in terms of like the Musa Bility issue. Musa Bility has the right, okay, and there is somewhere in a framework agreement that talks about if you left, if your party left, okay, the CPP, if you walk out, you cannot go and register for election as that party, because you are under the CPP, the banner of the CPP. That's what makes you a political party, or that's what makes you a collaborating member. So if they leave now and want to go and contest, how are they going to be contesting, as individuals or as the party? So this is the point where Bility is coming from. So how do you guys see that?
Yeah, the very first issue that I also think should be trashed, is the issue that has to do with the Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence fragment of the LP walk away from the CPP. It was the Liberty Party that signed up for the CPP. It was the Liberty Party that the NEC, the National Elections Commission, recognizes today, that signed up for the CPP. It was not Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence fragment. The Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence fragment is illegitimate, is insignificant, and is not recognized. Everything done under the banner or under the nomenclature of the Liberty Party by Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence, Senator Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence, and her cronies is illegal. It's illegally done. As we are all aware, the National Elections Commission have repeatedly recognized the Liberty Party under the leadership of Chairman Bility as the Liberty Party that's within the CPP. So if Yonblee and her friends walk away, that doesn't make news to me because it was the LP that signed up for the CPP. And the LP that signed up for the CPP is still with the CPP. And it is recognized, her membership with the CPP is recognized by the NEC.
You muted, Lofa.
You are muted, Lofa. We're not hearing you.
Sorry. I was just looking at something here. But say, let me get how you read it. You'll come back to your point. You're making very salient point. But you, Paul, you'll be leaving soon. Let's throw the ball in your court.
It's interesting times in Liberia, I would say. Well,
Indeed.
with the breakaway Unity Party under Senator Lawrence that have not been recognized by NEC, I think I would say is waste of time of them to start with. The group that will recognize, I think that's the legitimate group, which is Bility. And that's so that other side is all political maneuver they're doing. With regards to the framework document of the CPP, it's written in black and white that you sign up for this. When your party leave, that party will not fill in a candidate, but that candidate can go as an independent person. So Bility and the remaining member of the CPP can actually challenge any one of them that left. Unity Party have now officially left the CPP, so they can be challenged. Because before leaving, they have to follow the due process within the organization. They only announced that they were leaving, but have they followed the process? So in most ability have the right to challenge them in court. That means they can fill a candidate individually, but not the party. So I guess he said that they will challenge, and NEC will have to come out to see if NEC say anything, will go to the Supreme Court. So that their watch is political game time. So they're watching and see what's happening.
Jamal?
Oh yeah, well, I believe that we shouldn't be discussing this because we're giving too much of promotion to Yonblee's faction of the Liberty Party because they don't exist. This is not news for us. I said my colleague said. I mean, we don't know one Liberty Party, which is chaired by Mr. Bility, Chairman Bility. So talking about what did you also name? Lawrence, Senator Karnga, it's like giving her a room, a space to promote her show. So she does not exist. It's NEC did not recognize her. Why we discuss this?
And we cannot go ahead.
We shouldn't be discussing anything here about this part. I mean, it should be off the table altogether. That's what I believe.
You know, and just to add to my brother, we cannot be carried away. Our itinerary or agenda of discussion cannot be influenced by this yellow journalism perambulating, elevating and flagging stories that do not deserve to be flagged. Okay, you see journalists running, Yonblee Karnga journalists. That's Senator Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence journalists running with the airline. Yonblee Karnga-Lawrence faction deflects from the CPP. And this amounts to the tear deflection. How can you make such analysis when in fact the United Party is not even clear as to whether the United Party is out of the CPP? It's not even clear as to whether the United Party is out of the CPP.
I agree with Steve. I think the talking point should be, let's look at the government and the United Party with the cycle that is happening. Something very interesting happening in the place within the United Party.
Definitely.
The loud piece of United Party who someone sorted to the government, something like that people should have an equal eye on how this is going to turn out, and what will his follower think. I think something that you guys need to actually dive into. The United Party have a convention coming up. Their loud mouthpiece is now somersaulting towards the government. How this going to play out? It's interesting time in Liberia. I think it's something that you guys should look at keenly.
I think I agree. Mr. Goy, I think the issue of giving this a platform to Yonblee Karnga is she doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
No, not that we really want to give it to her, but people tend to gain relevance when other people just see or read something about them. So it's good that Steve nipped it in the bud that she's not even relevant. We are saying that she's not relevant, but people have been reading this story over and over and thinking that she's somebody. And I mean, considering the kind of people we got, our readers, our viewership, and all this stuff, and so it's good to sort of make it clear. Right now, Steve wrote, and he said she doesn't exist. I mean, according to law, not only Steve, but according to law. Okay.
All right. I was trying to make a point here with regard to when Musa Bailey came on the Spoon TV the last time, he signed a warning, and which I think Unity Party took into consideration. Like, you cannot leave. If you leave, you can leave. There's no exit clause, but you can leave, but you have to go by the process. If you leave, you cannot by a party fee the candidate. So for now, they are saying, well, we did not leave, we just announced. So they see what they did. They signal that there's something they have to do the process, or else they cannot leave without making a due process, which he say he would consider kind of ALP because they complained to other executive members of the collaboration before they left. But now this guy said they were leaving because they just left. We'll just make an announcement. Oh, Musa made a signal, a warning, which gave some chance to Unity Party to take a back and say, look, wait a minute, we need to make very careful before we're being held by law. So I think we should be discussing Unity Party positions and the next convention. If there's a chance we can discuss that. I think that would be my advice on.
Okay, General is on.
You muted, Lofa. You muted. You muted, Lofa.
Lofa, you muted, bro.
Yeah, sorry, General, sorry. What I'm saying is, as it stands, Chiba said we should be discussing the convention for the Liberty Party. But as it stands, we do not know what's going to come out in our convention. We don't know. Of course, we can preempt, we can play around it, but not much can be said about it from my end. And let's say welcome to Madam Yasini Martin Pehe. Of course, she doesn't need that much introduction on the social media because she's well known, so to speak. And the reason you are here today, due to our earlier discussion, is you got to throw light as a mother. You got to throw light on this mandatory breastfeeding bill that is currently in the house, in both houses. As a mother, do you see anything good in it or anything wrong with it?
I see, not just as a mother, but as a woman, I see sexism, I see discrimination, I see the patriarchy society playing in the air against women. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. And we talked about this briefly yesterday. I'm going to pull over in a brief moment. It does not make sense. The word that is bringing their culture to you, the reason they're bringing this to you, one side does not fit all. What good for America may not be good for Liberia. And I'm going to give you a common example. I think we had this conversation the other day, where you have the European telling you your culture is bad, okay? Like, for instance, your fraternity, which is like the poorest society. But then you're going to go join Masonic, you're going to go join this other one, you're going to go join all of that. But it's okay for you to display that. But it's not okay for the Lofians. It's not okay for the Nimbanians. It's not okay for the Bonkante people to go to the culture or their fraternity that they believe in. That is it's demonized. All right, is country is It's whatever they want to put it. I don't see what sense it make. Number one, Liberia is a very hungry country. 30% of Liberians are hungry. Okay? Under that, the children are malnourished. So first, because somebody say do this, we give you money, you just don't do that. How does that fit? There's something we call in business or in psychology, cultural dimension. The look and feel of your culture, how you do stuff, your way of life. Okay? How have you lived? How do you live now? The decision you're going to make, how does that impact? Does it help your life or does it have a adverse effect on you? But if literally they say, if Liberian women, what the other means of Liberian women feeding their children, except for when UNICEF say to us, we don't have empirical, we don't have any study that we as Liberians have done to say we need this. Most Liberian women cannot afford to buy milk. They have to feed their children. And in fact, they know the benefit. The people tell you. That's why even the first 3 months in my culture from Nima County, the first time when you have baby, they tell you you can't have sex. Okay? So the baby, because I don't know if any of y'all notice that y'all have children back home. They will tell you the child stomach start running after 3 months or before 3 months. Either there's a name for it, that the parents have been intimate with each other. And they forbid that because they want the flow of food that goes to that baby to be pure, that is not messed up, that is not sabotaged. And that's the culture we come from. So I'm not sure these people, what study did they do? Or the so-called European or Westerner just show up and say, you know why y'all do this? The reason these people are doing this, Liberian people, is that most of the developed world, the women have returned to work. Most women are getting so independent to the place that some of them don't even want to have children. Okay? Today, there are over 100,000 of European, what they call Ukrainian, that will be migrating to Liberia. Okay? Now, one of the things that, I mean, God forbid that there's a war, I don't want to do that. It's good that they're bringing them because they brought us here during our own war. They brought Somalian, they brought Bosnian, okay? And they're bringing Ukrainian, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is, in the developed world, especially like America, you work, you have baby after 6 weeks, you got to go back to work. We have means of preserving breast milk. We can take, they got pump, they got plastic bag or safe bag for breast milk that will keep the property, and our lights don't go off. Back home, I remember my brother's breastfeeding because I was old enough to remember. On both my mother and my grandmother. In fact, on my auntie, we share breast milk in our community. Whoever don't have, so that your grandma ain't not feeding. So me, I want this lawmaker then to tell me, what based on what are they making decision? Because there are other pressing issues in Liberia that is affecting our nation that needs to be addressed, like rape and killing children. The last meeting, they called into what did they do? They sat there and they were laughing like we were stupid. That the girls that are dying, that they're being killed, the children are being killed, their life not important, only their life important. When this lady, the senator from Babalu, okay, tried to speak, they were laughing at the woman. They didn't take her seriously. Okay? So me, I won't know because I pulled a lot of stats today and I'm going through it. And I'm going to pour over and I will give you guys some numbers. While the white people or the European or the developed world people are telling the world that women should breastfeed because it's good for there. And even if we don't breastfeed here, there's supplements. Those who are telling you it's important for you to breastfeed, there are also incentives for breastfeeding. That's why now they're telling you at least 90 days to 6 months for mothers to stay home. Okay? In those months when you're pregnant, they gave you vitamins. The government gave you voucher, depending on if you want it or you don't want it or your income. Okay? They gave you voucher where you need to eat, what kind of food you need, nutrient that you need to feed you, to feed your baby. But it don't make sense to me. So let me stop here and see if there's any other question.
So this will be my question. First of all, let me say, General, your view resonates with me deeply. I think the issue of breastfeeding should be not mandatory. I think it should be voluntary. I think our government should start thinking about means through which they can provide solutions for alternative nutritional or dietary balance for our young kids. In other words, around our terrains, and if I must agree with you, Sister Yassine, that they are acting on advice of international partners, then it behooves me, because around this terrain, when you were to take a walk at the nearest supermarket, you're going to see a food for 1 month old. You're going to see 2 month old food. You're going to see 3 months old to 10 months to 1 year, 2 year.
Yep.
Yep.
So
there are alternative feeding provided. Okay. So my thing is, why is it that our government will be making breastfeeding mandatory, and they are not thinking about providing alternative feeding measures? Now, they're not even thinking about providing support to our Liberian, baby mothers, in such a way that they can be able to, solve the challenges surrounding nutritional balance, the challenges surrounding, their nutrition. Trust me, our people, hunger is a problem in Liberia.
Okay.
Hunger is a
Okay,
problem.
let's see other views here. Chadelia Brown Cholope says this is a regressive stance to take. This should not be forced on women. They should have a choice and be educated on the importance of breastfeeding and the many benefits. That is the many benefits that follow breastfeeding.
We're getting
Another
feedback
comment she
from
made
you.
here,
We're getting
another
feedback
point she
from
made here
you.
is that she cannot believe
Linfo,
that in 2022 it will become mandatory. Okay,
Linfo, we're getting
yeah.
feedback from you, sir.
You have feedback. Okay, hold on. Okay, you still got a feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's from my because I'm reading from my phone. I see the comments, but I cannot read it from there, so I just have to read it from here. But let me take it away a little bit. And the other one says, or her other comment says, this is laissez policy or legislative, the legislature is making. Surely we can do better. I'm saying this as a mother who breastfeed 3 children. Now you see, like we said before. Like I said before, in Liberia, breastfeeding is nothing new. Okay, and for you to come and make it mandatory, there must be an underlying interest somewhere. This legislature, this branch of government in our Liberian democratic system, this branch of government has always been linked to some scandalous stuff. I hate to say this, but if they are not making laws for some interest, they'll be making laws because they have already received something. You see, so for them to make it mandatory when this thing is happening already, like I said, 80% of Liberian children are born out of the hospital, like in the interior. Okay, so the first very food that child eats is what the mother's breast milk. Okay, I come from that culture. I know what I'm talking about. If the mother cannot produce milk, they either find somebody who is feeding a baby already, and they can help. Okay, so for you to come and make it mandatory at this time, there must be some underlying interest somewhere that we do know, or is it to improve the system? So what improvement are you going to give the mothers? What help are you going to give them? And so all in all, for me, I think it's a lazy argument.
Lazy.
Very
And I
lazy
think
argument.
I really do think we should just allow Sis Yassine provide her stats and her analysis, and so we move forward to the issues that matter.
Yeah, can I make a comment, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sis Yassine, you muted.
Okay. Somebody wanted to make a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jamal.
Jamal, you see, what Yassine have said here, what I would you do? I think I'm for breastfeeding. But I think the part of it is we need to know that the activists and people that speak for the women and the rights of the people should also understand that government should make a provision for these mothers, the able mothers, to be able to breastfeed their kids or children, because there are other issues, the health issues that government need to look into, like the things that should make mandatory would be like a complete course of immunization for children. You know, pregnant women and standard health screening for pregnant women, like HIV, STDs. Those are things we expect to be mandatory. But then if government is saying to us that they have made it mandatory, I think that we should, the activist groups, the women groups, the equal right groups, should be able to stand up and say, okay, if you want to make this mandatory, let's have a special package for them, support system in place for them. We just making statement and making our views clear. But then what can we do to change the course for the women that are going to go through the process? We need to tell them this is what you need to put in place for them. Get out there and make a demand for them. We can't change the law anymore. It's been voted upon. So my point here is, let's see that the government, if there's any underlying factors, on anything under their sleeves that make them to vote for women to mothers to breastfeed their kids, there must be a total package for mothers so they can, like nutritional status, like Steve was saying, a balanced nutritional status for the mothers. And because mothers can't provide, most of them can't even provide for themselves. They don't know what to get it. To build that natural system so they can be able to breastfeed their kids. That's what I will opt for.
Just what says that the parents will build on this one. But just before you come in, I read a comment here that is very interesting. Nyakwe Nkigan Boma is asking, I wonder what this crazy policy will enforce. I mean, how will it be enforced? And what will be the punishment for violators? So if a mother says, I cannot breastfeed my child, what are they going to do?
That's a waste of time factor.
You know,
This is an unnecessary law.
The audio is going very bad. Something's not right.
See, your audio is bad.
No.
My audio?
No, it's not your audio. It's from your end.
From my end?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's okay now.
Okay.
You know what the government will do? They'll put a breastfeeding police out there. Go to every home, breastfeeding police, go to every home and see. And the funny thing is they don't have register of, no, they don't have
what? Investigate baby mother's breast or what?
What happened in China? They have every home that is visited by a secret police. If you born more than 2 kids, you have to go and answer questions. So we have, instead of putting money into more important issues in the country, investing into more important issues, they'll be looking at sending police to every home to make sure that mothers breastfeed. That's how I look at it.
So the police is going to follow the people on their farms.
We call them breastfeeding police.
That's very interesting.
This is interesting.
No, but they have in Saudi Arabia, they got religious police. They go around. If you don't go to the mosque, they go and arrest you, carry to the mosque, so they can do it in Liberia. So that's what they're going to do. They waste more money somewhere. And wasteful, that's going to be very wasteful.
Yeah, wasteful spending. That's what Mr. Kwame is talking about. People, things that are insignificant to the growth of the country.
So,
no. Come in, since I've seen you want to come in?
So, Brother Jamal, it makes absolutely no sense. Today in Liberia, when your child is raped, there's no money for her to go to the hospital and get treatment.
No.
Activists have to find money, even out of the city. Okay. Today, when a woman goes to the hospital to have baby, and she has no money, they watch her die. Okay. You people have heard a lot of this story. If she needs operation, her family have to go buy gasoline for generator. If not, she's gonna live right there and die. Okay, that is the fact. I have countless people reach out to me. Some have come and testify here. All right. When right here it is. 1.6 million Liberians are hungry. Amongst children under 5 are 30% stunted and 3% are acutely malnourished. Fewer than 10% of Liberia have access to safe manage drinking water and sanitation service. They are talking about the children are being malnourished, or because they're this, because they're having diarrhea, because they're not. That's a lie. The top 10 killers in Liberia, top 5 killers in Liberia, they're all waterborne diseases: malaria, cholera, okay, diarrhea, you name it, typhoid. Those are things that need that urgent. Those are immediate need. Okay, I would say if we did a study, I would say freely, okay, without looking, that over 6 to 8%, and it is just a chart there, that in the first 3 months feed their children breast milk. Okay, it say in America. Let me give you the American stocks, because I took all the stocks today. I put the stocks in the room here. Let me give you some stocks really quickly, because I want to give you some numbers. Okay, in America, where are we? All right, this is in America. U.S. when the child is born, they say American mother breastfeed their babies 3 out of 4 mothers, which is 75% in the U.S. Okay, this is 2010. We can go back, and 43% will be breastfeeding. After 6 months, only 13% will exclusively breastfeed their children. So America can afford to say we want our children breastfed. Even at that, we will fight it. Okay. In Europe, Europe is slightly up. All right. And I will post these numbers on this line right now. All right. Europe is about 19% after 6 months. Most of them will drop because they have to go back to work. We have to go back to work. Europe is higher than America. America is lower because we have to return to work. But in Liberia, the only means of taking care of our children. I mean, my point is, who are these people? How did they come to this conclusion? How can you make laws about us and we don't get our input? It shows sexism, okay? Because majority of the people making the law against us are men. Not only that, it shows sexism. It shows that they still want to dominate. That's not the way you dominate. Most of the women don't even have food. Right now, you got babies, born babies that can't even afford to feed themselves. You have to look at the immediate risk and address the immediate risk. All right? There's no immediate risk here in breastfeeding Liberian children. We are doing the best that we can. I'm a Liberian. I got 4 beautiful children. Okay? And I breastfeed all of my kids.
Yes,
and
yes,
I said earlier.
Yeah, I understand you, but I don't think we should be able to raise our high blood pressure here. I mean, raise blood pressure here, because all what we are saying is just like the guy going to make laws, he's not going to go anywhere. At the end of the day,
Jamal, we're discussing the issue.
Yeah, but how are they going to effect it? It's nothing going to happen. That's how they're going to effect the laws. It was just the questions on the floor. How they going to effect the laws? You pass the law. That's it.
I think Chima, what matters here is that we need to kill a plan before it even comes to light.
It's been voted upon, isn't it?
So when decisions, you see where Jamal is coming from, when decisions are made, before decisions are made, people need to think about, the consequences. Now, when laws are being made, the lawmakers should be able to contemplate on how they can effect with, those who are responsible for, enforcing the law, can enforce it. How can they give us an understanding of how such law be, enforced?
And I think such discussions can help them to I don't know if they will just vote on things like this. The first thing, they should have had education on this among the Liberian mothers, explain to them. Because the thing is, there are some working women, like let's say Yasini said. So this woman works at a bank and she has a baby. So you expect her to take the baby with her at the bank or in the office, even in the various government offices. They got women working there. Okay, so they're going to take their babies with them. I don't understand. So they have to.
So it means.
But
what it means.
Put a correction. Here. What they say here, they say like you are able to.
Can you all share the video? Can you all share the video, because I can't see it. I can't see it anywhere in the chat room. Can you all share the video so I can also share?
Yes, indeed.
I have shared it. I've shared it 10 times.
Yes, this live.
Yeah, I've shared it about 10 times, and
I can't go in the share it on Facebook. I can't go into WhatsApp to do it because the phone will go off. It will start making blurry.
Let's look at it this way. They're saying you have a maternity leave for 90 days. That's compulsory Liberia. You can breastfeed 90 days, 3 months. Yeah. You breastfeed your kids 6 months, compulsory breastfeeding for 6 months. That's what they're looking up to. That's what they're opting for right now. 6 months compulsory breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Does that mean that? Does that mean that? Does that mean that?
Yes.
Just brother Jim, can I come in, guys? General,
Yes,
let me ask you first. What percentage of Liberian women got jobs besides domestic and maybe selling in the market where they carry their children? These people are prescribing drugs, one size fit all for everyone. That's I'm not racing. I'm just you know, I talk with passion. All right, it does not make sense. It makes us look stupid. Okay, especially those of us who are pay our dues, learn and see how other people have been able to succeed based on their culture, based on their status. All right, how does that apply to me? Okay, when I was growing up, in fact, right now you go to my town, majority of the women they're not going to work. They work that farm and they carry their children with them. They feed their children. Okay, Monrovia is not Liberia. And then literally everybody in Monrovia, there are 75,000 employees in the Liberian government. Okay, out of that 75,000, what is the percentage of women working? Then the private businesses, okay, most Liberians sell petit market. That's their job. And they carry their babies with them. All right. If they need to stop something, I need to be those babies 2 and 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old that's selling in the market till 9 o'clock in the night. Those are immediate need to structure our country and our culture and to shape the future. But to come and say that's literally infringing on my right as a parent.
Look,
your opening speech.
Come here, moderator. Agon.
Yeah.
I think
on your opening speech or since you have seen it, you mentioned the word discrimination. So what? Whom is this?
Sexism. It's clear. It's clear. Sexism.
It is sexism.
Yeah, but whom is it discriminated against?
The men are. You are forcing me because you think you can. You think I'm your property. You think you can tell me what to do. Don't you think I'm intelligent enough to know my right from my wrong? Who did they pass? How many of them men in there not breastfeed before? How many of them have gotten pregnant before? How many of them been in the birthing room to know what a woman goes through? That don't know what her child needs? How many of them? What, you got 73 people jumbo and tell me 103 people to tell me I took care of my children. I carried them. So did my mother carry me. Okay? You just go. That's supposed to be a constitutional democracy. What have you not? You represent me. You can't just go make laws. My thing is, though, based on what that this law was made, is it needed now? Is there a pressing issue? What's the percentage of Liberian? Is it majority of Liberian women that don't feed their children? What is the imperial call? Who did they study? What is their background? I want to know.
Okay.
Like we have.
Please conclude, man. Please conclude, man. Please.
Come on.
Who should conclude? Sister Yasini?
No, the point I was making is the same people, and no disrespect, I'm a Christian, who brought up the Bible and said that should not, God said that should not. These very people are coming back now and say, oh, we want men and men to be together. But they tell you, my grandpa had 2 wives. And to tell you the truth, for a very long time, I didn't know who my mother's mother was in the house. The grandma that lived with us was my mother's stepmother. She was the one everybody could go to. We didn't know that. Okay? We just didn't know that. Y'all remember now, I come from a different background than the everyday, how you call it. So, everybody mother. I think my auntie that fed on their other mom or breastfed her. You tell me it's wrong, but then you come back and say, oh, It's human right for two women to be together, or a human right for two men together. I don't. People can do what they want to do with their life. That's my life I'm speaking to. So what we have done as African, especially of Liberia, because we are liability, we have refused to think or even hire people that can think outside of the box or without the box to create a promising environment, okay, or environment that we can thrive. So by the time the Europeans show up or the Westerners show up, we say, oh, we'll get you $5 million. So you decide this. Then we put somebody in the street to fight. Then our lawmakers say, this is where we are. What's the issue now? Our children are malnourished. Our babies are dying from malaria.
Okay, Agon, could you please let me ask you?
Yeah. I'm just trying to so we can coordinate it, you know.
Yeah, so Yasini, I'll get some questions for you with regard to this breastfeeding thing. Where do you stand on this? Because you're not, I don't think you want to be clear with us. Where do you stand? Are you against breastfeeding, or you think that
I believe in every child, if the mother can, in the first maybe year of life, even if that's 6 months, it helps create connection with your child. It helps create, if the mother is healthy, it helps create a good health beginning for that child. Okay? And I just told you I fed my own children. But I don't think, okay, a man or any other person, for that matter, to come and tell me that I need to do it. Besides, if the country were at risk, looking at status, it's their empirical that they have done, not the other people have done. That said, we know the benefits. We know it's our God-given stuff that when God gave it to you to give to your children. I believe in breastfeeding. I breastfed my own children, and my mother breastfed me, and my grandmother breastfed my mother. Okay? The point I'm making to you is, it's not, we don't have problem with it in Liberia. You don't even have 15% of Liberian women who don't breastfeed.
Okay.
So it can be a problem.
Yeah, okay. Can I hold you there for a second? With the issue of, you just asked a question, any empirical question, information that says that why did you ask or make it mandatory for women to breastfeed their children? While much of the government comes with statistics, they provide that because of health reason, they are coming with a condition and they provide incentive for mother. Will you stand by it?
Listen, I'm not going to tell you a yes or no question. You know, I was going right here, I just turn around. You know why I turn around? There's a road here that used to come directly from my house, one turn, and I'll go to the AT&T store. But the road is closed. That's a detour there that tell me where road I can take, okay? But I was being high-headed, you know why? Over there, they have put poster there for months and say the road will be closed, there will be new, but I was just taking a risk to see if it's still open, all right? The Westerner who gave you the information, before they put something in your plate, they will educate the population. There will be seminar, there will be commercial or play that will say the benefit of it, why it should happen, all right? It will be taught. In fact, if you're a mother or prospective mother, you go to your primary care or to your prenatal care, they will give you brochure to tell you why this is. In fact, they will have counselor come and meet with you to tell you why you should or should not do this. All right? You can't get up 1 in the morning because you have the power that will invested in you or vested in you, and you go and do it. My point is, we are already breastfeeding our children.
let me add to Sis Yasini by beginning from where she just stopped. I said this to you. For me, there is no need for this law. Now, can somebody tell me what is the urgent problem that this law seeks to solve? Now, if you look around Liberia today, there are several problems. Look, let me tell you, the legislature you see there is a political institution. And we don't want to, this is why from the beginning of this show today, I made my position clear. Now, every time I stay on this talk show discussing this breastfeeding thing, I think it's a waste of time. I would not have considered it a waste of time if this breastfeeding bill perhaps would have popped up another day. Look, the ambassador of America to Liberia comes up and brings to the public a major indictment, a major moral indictment of the House. The House has been, the legislature has been bent on a draconian desire to make sure that her workings within the chambers is not exposed, is not made transparent to the people, the electorate. Now, I'm suggesting to us, I'm coming. I'm suggesting to us that this whole breastfeeding thing, it was a tactic, a propaganda tactic intended to redirect our attention from the real issues that matter.
I would agree.
Can I
becoming successful for us to be getting into this issue and discussing this issue?
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steve and says, yes, Cindy. The question come to my mind: what do the West have to benefit from this breastfeeding if they ask mothers in Liberia to breastfeed instead of telling them to buy how do you say that? Formulated milk? They're not telling you to buy formulated milk. They are telling you to breastfeed your child or your children. Why do they have to benefit from this? Because you guys are saying it's a West propaganda stuff. What do you think? You think there will be benefit from this if they're telling us to breastfeed our children?
Do you want me to speak to that?
Please.
The more we look like we're needed, the more UNICEF get fundings. Okay? The more UNICEF get fundings. So we are now a liability that somebody needs to come teach us how to raise our children, all right, or how to feed our children. But we have other pressing issues. We have other pressing issues like malaria, like the waterborne diseases, like typhoid, like diarrhea, like cholera, and all of those things. They're not being addressed. Like what do you call it? Breast mortality rate that is high. Mothers dying in a hospital by the dozen. You heard the people spoke on the ambassador spoke on it the other day. Those are present and clear danger in our country for the forward march and the growth and the sustainability of us as Liberians. All right, but that's not an issue. How long did it take these people to pass a breastfeeding? An issue at this point. You know, when we get to look at things and pass law for it in other countries, minimum 15% of the population is identified as a minority, meaning you're being identified as a group of people that are either making impact or not making impact or part of the population. Now, what percentage of Liberian women that don't breastfeed? Okay, I'm not talking about what UNICEF say though. I'm not talking about what UNICEF say. I'm talking about what the nation itself say. When did they do the survey or the case study? What is the empirical? And brother, Jamal, if you want me to answer that question directly, if the Liberian government, I'm talking about outsiders, have gone and thoroughly, okay, done their research and they have put mechanisms in place, all right, to identify and sustain and support the mothers, then that's not a problem.
Will you trust any research made by the government of Liberia?
But any research made by the library,
yeah, because the point here is you're saying that you want so many paragraphs from the government of Liberia or from our own National Statistics Bureau, and now the foreign groups are saying this is the information. Which one is authentic from your end? Is it government of Liberia or from the outsiders? Because the question I'm asking right now is the benefit from the West. Telling us to feed our children.
So Jamal,
yes.
Even in America, when we do research or we do case study, we don't use just one case study. I have to look at other independent variables, okay, and other independent institutions, credible institutions that have worked. I can get the UNICEF, but I want the people on the ground, okay? If they said not looking to invest in themselves, then UNICEF And there are different agencies also in America, in the same Europe that you're in, okay, that bring those empiricals together, those case studies together, to look at it and see, okay, how does that add on? How does that balance? Is that correct? What give or what is the probability? Based on that, then a judgment call is made. I'm telling you, all right. And I want to agree with Steve to some degree. Your kids are dying. You can't even deliver your women are riding motorbike to find the next hospital. You show up, you don't get $70, you stay there and die. Then you're talking about breastfeeding, and the women are hungry. You know, if I don't breastfeed,
let me just come in. I sat down for more than almost 10 minutes quietly and just listened to everybody. And a lot of things came to my mind, or they continue to come. First and foremost, what concerns UNICEF so much about breastfeeding in Liberia, more than having hospitals that will provide good opportunities for the children themselves to be born in the first place. This is a country that watches almost 20% of children dying from early childhood simple preventable diseases for lack of proper medical care. That is not in place. And then you worry about the ones that are born already. You worry about the ones that are born already. And let me tell you, let me just give you my own on medical and reasonable analysis of the whole thing. A child that is born in Liberia today that will live for the first 1 week, that child will die. Even if they will die, they will struggle before they die. They will die under exceptional factor, meaning that the thing that will kill them, it must be very strong sickness. Because here's a child, the mother is pregnant. Number one, they are not doing any scanning to know whether the child is in good condition, whether the child needs certain things, certain vitamin or whatever, and this child is born on a critical condition. The very day the child is born, mosquitoes start to eat the child. Mosquitoes are eating the mother before you are even born. Okay? So that child is exposed to a lot of things. The water that the mother is drinking is not even safe. I come from a traditional background, so I always, sometimes, since I seen it does, I will give you an example. I remember we used to go to the farm, and I remember because I grew up with my grandparents too. Okay, so I remember my grandmother, she would be, when walking, she would be pushing the water, like we want to drink, she would push the water, and they got a brown thing in the water that they call it the if you literally translate it, it's a crab poo, that crab poo in the water, that brown thing. Okay, so I always want to know how they.
I know it like seaweed. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So they will push the water, so and then they will dip, and she will first leave like a funnel, and she will dip the water in there, and of course, some of that thing can be inside. When they dip that water, that brown thing will be inside. Will drink it still. Okay, and so can you imagine that you pass through such thing like that, and this is something that even a European child will not do, and so these people, they calculate how they live, and then they want to present it to us. So you got a child that is born under that kind of condition, and that child has lived for the first 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The child is doing well. Okay, so the child is immune. Then you want to make it mandatory. The first thing is we should create the condition where the child can be born in the first place instead of thinking about why you eat. Okay.
Well,
the condition that will make a child be born is lacking, meaning that we got bad hospital system. Okay. No, I mean the U.S. ambassador said it, that they gave $79 million for the health sector, and that money ends up in people's pocket. Okay, and some end up at private hospitals. You see, so the health center is totally collapsed. So UNICEF should be thinking about creating the necessary condition. Listen, when I started working as a journalist, very early, I think in the late 80s, around 88, 89, there are brothers HIV something, and so we're on a campaign. Okay, we're on an HIV campaign, and there was sufficient education given to the public. I remember that we did a lot of jingles. I almost slept at our studios cutting jingles the whole night just to educate the people. Okay, and I still remember one of the songs from family planning. So you see, we got to first of all provide education to the people how things are done properly instead of the legislatures just coming bam, they pass one law simply because trust me, we're talking today. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. There is some interest. There is some interest. There are bills that have been lying before the legislature for years. They haven't touched it. For this one to just come abruptly and insert it, there is something. Or is
but
from UNICEF? Yes, see coming.
Yeah, but the lady just mentioned it. You know, there are international partners' interest involved, and along those lines, the bellies of our lawmakers will also be filled. The pockets of our lawmakers will also be filled along those lines. And you know, she mentioned UNICEF. Look, I think this is a waste of time. Let me be very honest with you. I know this is about breastfeeding. You know, my man Jamel's a food breastfeeding. Myself, I was breastfed. So, you know, I support it. But I really do think this legislature is distracting us from the fact that, you know, the issue of, from the issue of corruption that was raised involving the legislature. From the fact that the legislature, you know, is not prepared. The legislature have been doing everything possible to do away with this whole electronic voting thing. I think this thing deserves conversation. We need to have a conversation surrounding this thing. There are other issues that matter. Trust me. This particular issue here, for me personally, I take no interest in it. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know if you say it's a waste of time. In what sense? Probably because it has been passed.
Now, because I feel the legislature is now successfully getting us distracted from the look. There's a corrupt legislature.
But this is why the public. What we're doing here, we're trying to educate the public so the public can stand against it as well. So you see, while they try to distract us, we can also.
But you see, now you are encouraging the public to stand against it and all of that. Trust me, the legislature is getting successful. It's becoming gradually successful at taking the public attention from the real issues that matter.
So what if the public is made aware and then the public resists their attempt?
But the public, if the legislature has a vested interest, the public cannot stop them from passing the law. You know, the legislature is gullible. You just mentioned.
Yeah, I think this will bring me by the question that we read earlier on from Yako Pika. So what's going to be
feedback from you?
How are they going to ensure in the first place that this mandate is being carried out fully? So how do they do that? Jima said we'll have breastfeeding police. So they must. So
what's the next topic on it? We got that you can.
Okay, let me find a next topic.
Yeah,
I think we basically touched almost all of the topic. But let me go back. Sorry.
I think we run out of time also.
Yeah. We talk about this breastfeeding thing, and we talk about the quote unquote Yonblee fashion, which is not important though. And then we talked about the Bility determination to resist the United Party at the upcoming by-elections in Lofa, and of course, logically and legally, Bility has the potential, the right to do that. But the next thing on the table right now is
But before we leave from that issue, the point I wanted to make on that subject is whether or not Bility decides or does not decide to resist any attempt from the United Party to feel Kennedy as a political party. That cannot be made possible. It is not possible. It is legally impossible. And
listen. So who will you be depending on? Who will the CPP, the remaining parties in the CPP, be depending on to stop them? Because is it next or
what's the question? To stop who?
To stop the United Party from feeding your candidate.
Of course, NEC is not going to permit that. The last time the United Party fed candidate, it was under the auspices of the CPP. Of course, the CPP framework document is clear.
Yeah, but they are out.
Is it? Now, if United
The United
Party is out,
now.
now if United
Yeah.
Party is out, then United Party is not going to feed your candidate. This is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but they're going. But who's going to implement? Who's going to make sure that that law in the framework document is implemented? I think that's where Musa Bility comes in.
The NEC is a regulatory body. The NEC is a regulatory body.
Yeah, but somebody has to push a point. That's the point I'm making. Somebody will have to push a law.
Linford.
Yeah.
I think we'll say speak on that. The issue here is Musa said that ANC is with them, that will push his case, that will make sure that those parties are leaving the CPP will not fear a candidate, and it's taking a CPP. So that's what the case. So probably it's a reminder for the NEC, in the National Election Commission, to let them know that
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Those who left
that somebody must
CPP,
champion the cause.
Yeah, the Labourist Party taking the lead, supported by ANC. He said it on the radio, on the talk show. So definitely they will take the lead and make sure that they won't feed the candidate. That's for sure. So the law is there. It's not a reminder to let them know these guys left us. We all had a banding agreement that when you leave us, you can't feed the candidate on a CPP or as a party. You have to go as independent. So that's
just one quick point. Until the CPP document that is contested currently in the courts of law can be withdrawn, or say the prosecution can win the case, trust me, that CPP document stands and it holds. And within the CPP document, it is clear that people cannot walk from out of the CPP and put up for candidates. So I'm suggesting that the NEC is under an obligation, a moral obligation, to of course act in accordance with the laws on the books, to act in accordance with the provisions within the framework document of the CPP. So they make no mistake, the NEC cannot allow for that.
Okay. I think time is fast spent, so we the next one on the agenda right here, or it's not the agenda, but the next topic to be discussed is it's not a topic actually, but it's just a review of the major papers for the week, And one of the papers there, the newspaper in its yesterday edition said, dual citizenship bill rejected. The reason I'm bringing this in, it has to be tied in with this breastfeeding bill that was passed. Here's a dual citizenship bill. I remember this dual citizen thing. The first time I ever signed up for it, that was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that would be 2008 or 2009. Okay. So it's been dragging along for a while, for a very long time. There have been a lot of debates. There have come several, groups, leadership group for Liberian organizations around the world trying to push it. I remember EULA tried to push it, and other groups supported it from Europe, but it hasn't worked. It's been lingering from government to government, from time to time. But now here it is being denied. But instead a bill to force women against their will, probably to breastfeed, just slid on a soft icy ground through the legislature. So
Limbo.
Any comment? Yeah.
Limbo. As far as I'm concerned, from the day Councillor Jallow won that case at the Supreme Court, all Liberian citizens can now benefit dual citizenship by default. And what that means, in accordance with my understandings and my information, is that until, for example, the Justice Minister Musa Dean, Councillor Musa Dean, can show a proof that Stephen Carley is a citizen of Germany. Until he can show a proof, then I cannot be a Liberian citizen. But until, nobody shows a proof by default, I can be a Liberian citizen and a citizen of another country. And from my understanding of that case that was won by, Councillor Jallow, who went on the Spoon TV the last time, provided all of these understandings to us as to the interpretation of the ruling of the Supreme Court. So as it stands, this is the knowledge I have. Now to be hearing that, you know, whether or not there's another attempt, and, you know, to make sure that Liberian citizens enjoy dual citizenship directly and not by default, and that is the attempt that is failing, then that's another conversation. But as it stands, I know that Liberian citizens can enjoy citizenship, dual citizenship by default until the justice minister can go to the court and prove that this Liberian citizen is a citizen of another country, and yet is an evidence to prove that, then that person can lose their Liberian citizenship. This is what I know of.
And you know what I'm gonna say, so I can leave you guys to talk. I think we're gonna take the attention from the women press. I know they're gonna eat this little money and they're not gonna pay attention. It's gonna be another book on the shelf, just like they make laws and they don't follow through with it. Whatever people tell them they do. And I'm gonna say this to the Liberian people. The people that we elect to represent us, they're not stranger. We know them. We know their ability and their capability. We know their character and we know the morality. We know the integrity. We know what they bring to the table, where they believe in value differences. If they understand what they call grits, all right, they're focused people who want to go somewhere. So they say people see themselves in the people see themselves in their leaders. So if the people that we are choosing supposed to be people we see ourselves in, then we ourselves need to go back as Liberian and reevaluate ourselves, look in the mirror and see who we are. Because based on who we are, it's based on that we, and then they say, oh, the people fool us. No, and I will always say this. I was in Liberia when the election were going on. I know where people did. I know people living in Monrovia going all the way to Maryland to vote. People in Monrovia living to go all the way Grand J, Nima County, Lofa County, Bon County, being paid to leave their address where decisions are made on their behalf to go and go vote. So your vote, let me tell you something. The guy with the mansion, with and the big old fan got one vote. You who walking by line in the mud got one vote. Until you learn to use your vote as your most powerful asset as a citizen, that is not sold for deer meat, for cow meat, for t-shirt for 30 or 40 bucks, you say you're corrupt. So all of us need to look down and say, am I really corrupt? Yes, you are. Because you choose them based on now. We become, what his name? What do you call it? ISIS. We become ISIS. We sell our birthright for that moment. And we'll come back and say, oh, but I'm entitlement. I was hungry, so I asked for it. You sold it already, so you're not going to get it. It being awarded to someone. This is the best way I can put it. Now, we need to look at the pressing issue. I'm not even going to go there to tell Liberian people, let them go check around. First, let them be able to feed our women, give them enough vitamin, okay, and supplement that. But it's a hungry country. 30% of the children are hungry. The babies are walking the street. I know, oh my God. Somebody was calling me. I know for it, I like to use my laptop in my car. I know for a fact that all the other policy before, like Vision 2030, okay, that one came under where Samuel Jackson was part of them, were running around here divine money to lay out Liberia economy, and they told what the fundamental of the economy was strong. See where we are now. They're right. There are plenty of things on the books that does not work. REP is on the book, it does not work. Percentage of our wealth is on the book that does not work. On the book, the people should have a voice. The lawmakers are supposed to come to us when they're changing so we can have our voices added. That does not work. Liberians must wake up. When they wake up and start holding their leaders accountable and say, you are answering to me, then we're ready to play ball. So I'm going to stop here. Yo, thank you. I don't know if Steve gone. Lenfrey was good inviting me. Brother Jamal, I mean, you guys, thank you for all you do. Let's continue to speak. Let's continue to educate our people. Knowledge is power. When our people understand. I don't know what I know if I not been in this country. And if I don't read a lot, I wouldn't know. Today, when I saw that yesterday, I went all around the world, in your country, in all your different countries, and all your laws, to pull a lot of documents. When I get off, I will put different links on here. You who want to investigate, if you don't have access to these different periodical and scholarly work, I will post them here so you can have your own insight if you have the time to read it or you have the data. Thank you so much for having me. I've been to work all day, so I'm here back. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and you're always welcome to be here, because as long as you have the information, you can provide it. And Jemima, I think time is far spent, and I don't know if you have any final word that that can take us home.
Yeah. Thank you very much. My brother, what I want to say with regard to this breastfeeding issue, I think you kind of have a problem. What I have with the breastfeeding issue, we also know, I think we're discussing it because of discussion's sake. We know that this is not going to be effective. It's not going to be effective in any case. If the lawmakers have anything that they want to gain out of it, they're going to gain out of it. We can't do anything about it. And that's it. And that's just, it will be in the document, it's being lodged, passing to laws, and nobody's going to find a way to effect it, except, like I've said, the breastfeeding police out there to every door to make sure that women or mothers breastfeed their kids,
which is 100,000,000% impossible.
So we just discussing. They say we're wasting. I mean, it's not a matter of discussing it, but it's not going to make any difference anyway. I'll pass a law that said and drop it. Or it's a law that you must breastfeed your kids. Problem when it goes to court, like between a case, oh, my wife did not breastfeed, and we go to court, you went against the law. Problem is come out or pop up on those cases. But in a case, in the West, if this law coming out, you got to worry about it because it'll make sure it's effective. It doesn't work in Liberia. So we're just discussing it because we want to let you know that these are not possible. Like many other burning issues in the country, we need to look at. If you want to really look at women issues, we're talking about if pregnant women at the age of 12 weeks pregnancy, they should be monitored to go through STD and HIV screening for the health issue for the sake of the child. And also this complete course of immunization for children, that is vaccination for kids. Those things must be mandatory if you want the early childhood development, if you really want to do it in your country. But we are not looking at those areas. But just because we want to discuss it to let our people know what our views are, I think it's quite important. We raise this issue to people to know where we stand. But in honor of we missing, I think we kind of, how do you say that, misplacement of priorities? That's what it is. That's what we're going through. But in any case, we need to talk about it as Liberia. It's a burning issue in our country. That's what I can say, boss. With regard to the, we'll talk about the Yonblee Kanga issue, which is not something like, she's not very insignificant here. We want to talk about it because she does not runs any proper authority. She doesn't have any authority to make decision. So she's less important to discuss about. That will make a comment on the two main issues.
That was only to expose or to actually tell to the public that she's irrelevant politically in the ANC.
In the CPP. Lofa, I'll also tell you, NEC has a serious challenge because when it comes to these parties like feeding the political party, when those who left CPP, how are we going to do? How NEC going to react to that? Yonblee Kanga coming up as another faction of a Liberty Party. What will be the NEC position? We wait to see this thing coming up. So it's going to be a lot of things to look up to.
Well, you keep breaking in. I don't know what's happening, but if you just joining us, or we almost about to go, but we just recapping some of the things we talked about. But I totally agree with you, Chima, that discussing the Yonblee Kanga fashion thing is irrelevant as far as we stand right now, until probably if they want to upgrade to become a political party. But then I cannot see two political parties bearing the same name though. So it's irrelevant to discuss such thing right now. And we were also able to extensively discuss this breastfeeding thing, and then we talk about the Unity Party, how Musa Bility has vowed to serve as a stumbling block for them in legally so, because that's That's what is spelled out in the framework document. And so I think this is how we like to draw the curtain on this edition of the program, The Bottom Line. If you join here for the first time, this is where we are. We come on this platform every Friday and Tuesday, or every Tuesday and Friday, but I think Tuesday comes before Friday. And so you can catch us next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central European Time and 7 p.m. GMT. So if you live in Liberia, you can catch us at 7 p.m. If you're in the UK, 7 p.m. And in the US, I think on the East Coast, it's going to be around like 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, or they just dropped that time back. So it's going to be like 3 o'clock. So you can catch us, and you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube and be a part of the program. I don't know if Tima had anything else to say, but this is how we'd like to end it up today.
I'll just say thank you for having me after a couple of weeks not being around. I think next time, next Tuesday, I should be back in Manchester, live from there. I'll be joining you on the show. Now I'm right now joining you from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. So by next Tuesday, I hope to be back in the UK.
So you're gonna be the panelist on wheel.
The roving panelist.
Yeah, the roving panelist. Well, this is how we wrap up. My name is Linford Goer, and Jamal has been there with me, along with Stephen Carley, and we've been talking about Liberia.